Hello. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whenever you might happen to be watching this. My name is Deborah Blanche. I'm an actor, storyteller, writer, and a Chautauqua performer. I've also done numerous workshops and projects in connection with the expertise and experience that I've developed over the years. In 1985 or 6, I'm not sure which, I was invited to audition for the first time to the New Mexico Chautauqua program. I just completed a couple of tours of the American West with my first full-length one-woman theater production entitled Women of the West. And as a finale to that, when I came back to New Mexico, I did a series of performances on one weekend at the Chemo Theater. Present at one of those was a former board member of the New Mexico Humanities Council, and she encouraged me to audition for the Chautauqua program. Well, it sounded like a perfect fit. Not only was I doing biographical presentation, but I was focusing on women's history. I was traveling around to meeting different places and going to meeting different people and places in New Mexico. And sounded like the very good fit for me. So I chose the viewpoint character from Women of the West. Her name was Abigail Scott Duniway, and she was a suffragist from the Pacific Coast, northwestern part of the United States. I honed the script to make an audition-sized script. I pressed my costumes, I gathered my props, and I went to the audition at the Chemo Theater as well. The one thing I was a little concerned about, however, was that question and answer period as the character. I had experience in theatrical improvisation, but I'd never been called upon to answer questions as if I were a historical character, where there were definite facts and secondary sources of information that someone might check me against. I wasn't sure, how well I was going to be able to present not only the character's thoughts, but her history accurately and with integrity. I was accepted to the Chautauqua program, and Abigail Scott Duniway tells the history of the West from the women's point of view, became a Chautauqua program. It wasn't long before I was out on the road, and when I was out on the road, I soon discovered that my favorite part of the Chautauqua program was the question and answer as the character. And that as a writer, in creating the prepared part of the text, what I needed to do was really clarify the themes and to make sure that I was planting some seeds of interest in there, hoping that the audience's curiosity would be spurred and that then they would ask the questions that they wanted to know, rather than my hosing them down with all of the information that I thought they ought to have. There's hardly a time that I go back to the dressing room after a program that I don't make some notes to myself about what I want to know in order to answer the audience's questions better, to be more complete, or about what the character thought on a certain subject or on a certain event that happened in her life. And I like this part of it too, because it keeps the program fresh and it keeps me sharp. So I invite you to visit my website. That's www.palomitaproductions.org. Let me spell Palomita for you. PALOMITA Productions.org. If you visit the website, you'll see a lot more about me biographically, and also about my work and about my philosophy of my work. Thank you very much for watching this afternoon, and I hope that we have an opportunity to meet personally one day soon. Farewell till then.